Good day everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cikgu Darrel and today we shall continue on Unit 7 Growing Up. For your information, this is the third lesson which is on page 75 on your student's book. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to talk about situations and events in the past. The language focus for our lesson today would be object pronouns and past simple in affirmative as well as negative forms. As usual, before we proceed to our lesson today, let me communicate with you first the framework of our lesson. First, we shall get to know what object pronoun is and go through some examples. And after that, we shall learn to use past simple in affirmative and negative sentences. Last but not least, we shall practice writing sentences together using past simple in affirmative and negative forms. Without further ado, let us move on to the first activity of our lesson today, which is to learn and practice what's object pronoun. What's object pronoun? Take a look at this example first. Here, I have one sentence for you. Manish made one big picture from the photos, and it can actually be rewritten as Manish made one big picture from them. Reading the second sentence, we know that the word them refers to the photos. Therefore, the word them here represents the photos. Let's take a look at another example. He gave the picture to Suman as a present, and it can be rewritten as he gave it to Suman as a present. So we know that it here refers to the picture. Therefore, it represents the picture. To give you a clearer picture, this is a table that I have prepared for you so that you will be able to differentiate between subject pronoun and object pronoun. A lot of students normally would confuse when they are trying to use subject pronoun and object pronoun. For subject pronoun, the examples are he, she, it, they, we, I, you. However, when they are converted into object pronoun, there is a difference in terms of spelling. For example, he becomes him, she becomes her, it still remains it, they becomes them, we becomes us, I becomes me, and you remains you. So in this case, you might ask, teacher, how do I know if I'm using the subject pronoun or object pronoun correctly? Take note that subject pronouns only perform actions, whereby for object pronouns, they receive actions. Therefore, whenever we look at the sentence, object pronouns always appear after the verb. At the same time, it also works as a representation, like what we have gone through in the examples just now. Let's take a look at the same examples again. Just now I said, Manish made one big picture from them, and obviously we know that them refers to the photos. However, in our definition just now in the previous slide, it was mentioned that object pronoun appears only after the verb. So the verb that we can identify here is made. Made is the verb, and the object pronoun is them. So obviously, the object pronoun them appears after the verb made. Looking at the second example, it's still the same. The verb is gave, and the object pronoun is it. Again, this is another example that shows that object pronoun it appears after the verb gave. More examples for you to see. Maths isn't my favorite subject, but I study it. We know that it actually refers to maths. And why do we use it to represent maths? Because maths is a non-human thing, and therefore we need to use the word it to represent the subject. Next, Michael Jackson is my favorite singer. I often listen to him. Michael Jackson is a singer, and we know that his gender is a male. Therefore, we need to use the subject pronoun he. When subject pronoun he is converted to object pronoun, it becomes him. Therefore, we use him to represent Michael Jackson. My best friend is Leon. I really like him. Leon is a male's name. Therefore, we use the subject pronoun he. The same case again, the object pronoun him represents Leon. My hobbies are playing computer games and chatting online. Take note that there are two hobbies mentioned here. It's in plural form. In English, whenever something is more than one, it is considered plural, and the subject pronoun that we can use to replace the plural nouns are they. So when the subject pronoun they is converted to object pronoun, it becomes them. Therefore, in this case, them represents playing computer games and chatting online, two hobbies. Now, let's move on to the second activity of our lesson today, which is to learn to use the past simple in affirmative and negative. But first and foremost, you will need to know first what is affirmative or negative in past simple. Generally, affirmative, it means berlaku or setuju in BM, whereby the negative means totally the opposite, which is tidak berlaku or tidak setuju. So today we are going to learn to write sentences in past simple, be it setuju or tidak setuju. Generally, just take note that when we want to write affirmative sentences in past simple, there are 6 types of past simple verbs that we can use. It's either you add D at the back of the verb, ED, IED, consonant plus ED, irregular, or no change. We shall see more examples later on as we discuss further. Whereby for negative, when we want to use past simple in negative sentence, we will need to use the word didn't plus the verb in base form. So let's look at some examples, beginning with past simple affirmative first. In this picture, we can see that a woman is wearing a pair of glasses. Say a sentence, she had glasses. Dia mempunyai cermin mata. This is an example of affirmative sentence. And the past simple verb used here is an irregular verb because had is the past tense for has. How about if we want to write this in negative form? This time, the woman has no glasses on her face. Therefore, we will need to use the formula didn't plus verb. She didn't have glass. Dia tidak mempunyai cermin mata. Remember, the verb has to be in base form. Next example. I watched sport on TV last night. Saya menonton sukan di TV semalam. This is another example of affirmative sentence in past simple. The verb here was added with ed. Next, what if it's negative? It means that it didn't happen, tidak berlaku. So, I didn't watch sport on TV last night. Saya tidak menonton sukan di TV semalam. So what did you watch? I watch drama, I watch series, I watch movie rather than you watch sport. Next, they went to France last year. Mereka pergi ke Perancis tahun lepas. Went is the past tense for go. It's an example of irregular verb. So in terms of negative, we can say they didn't go to France last year. So where did they go if they didn't go to France? They went to Brazil, as you can see the flag at their back there. Now let's move on to the last activity of our lesson today, which is to practice writing sentences in past simple, affirmative and negative form. Take a look at this picture for a while. I have provided a sample guidance sentences here for you. For the first sentence, you will need to write it in affirmative form. The verb given here is live. So how are you going to write an affirmative sentence using past simple verb live? I lived in Tokyo when I was younger. So this is a sample of affirmative sentence in past simple. It shows that you really live in Tokyo. But what if you don't live in Tokyo? This time round, you will need to write a negative sentence. It becomes, I didn't live in Tokyo when I was younger. So where did you live? I live in Kuala Lumpur. Next, another affirmative sentence. This time, you have different hair color when you were a baby. So the verb given here is have. You will need to change into past simple first. It becomes had. So I had different hair color when I was a baby. But what if you don't have the different hair color? It becomes I didn't have different hair color when I was a baby. Similarly, it means that your hair color is the same since you were a baby. Next, number 3. The verb given here is draw, and we are going to write an affirmative sentence here. So means that we don't have to use the keyword didn't. We need to change draw into past simple. Draw is an irregular verb, so the answer here is draw becomes drew. I drew a picture of my dream house today. So you really drew the picture. It happened. But what if it didn't happen? It becomes I didn't draw a picture of my dream house today. So what did you draw? I drew a picture of my pet cat. Number 4. The verb given is jog, and you will need to write in affirmative sentence. I jogged at the park with my sister this morning. Jog is another example of past simple verb with consonant plus ed. So what if you don't jog at the park? I did not jog at the park with my sister this morning. So what did you do? I cycled at the park with my sister this morning. That's the end of our lesson today. This is the Google form exercise that I have prepared for you. Feel free to just scan the QR code right in front of your screen, or you may click on the link that I have provided in the video description below. If you're a teacher and you would like to make a copy of this Google form exercise, feel free to just scan the QR code right in front of your screen, or you may click on the link that I have provided in the video description as well. As usual, don't forget to visit my Facebook page Cikgu Darrel and give it a like if possible. Subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell so that you will always get notified whenever I update my playlist. With that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I shall see you at the next video. Bye!